right, boys and girls, we're back in the shop. Got the 34.5 window there. My good friend Pete gave me this 33.3 window because he said I was a great friend, and I didn't have enough stuff in my garage, so this is a pretty badass hot rod. So anyways, what we're working on today, I got what is known as a Ford 303 transmission. It's a 3-speed, and I believe they call it a 303 because of, I don't know if it's the shift rails are 3.3 inches apart, or if yeah, I think that's what it is. I think they call it a 303 because it's 3.03 inches apart. What that came out of is an early Bronco. That is a 9-inch out of a Ford F1 pickup. So if you're ever building a channeled roadster or a coupe and you're looking for a 9-inch to put in your car, your hot rod, that's pretty much like a bolt-in rear axle. Obviously you got to mount tabs and whatnot on it, but it's got the Ford big bolt pattern, 5x5.5, and the width from the axle bell or the back end plate mount is exactly what you need. I think it's like 56 or 57 inches. So Ford 9-inch, I believe there's 411s in it, and 3-speed, which is going to go behind that. That's a 324 Oldsmobile, 1955. It's going to have 497s on it. I am going to open it up, going to put a cam in it. I have a couple sets of adjustable rockers. I have a few other sets of valve covers. I ordered a set of flanges to build exhaust for it. This motor is going to have zoomies because that motor, that transmission, and that rear axle are going in this. And you guys remember seeing me a couple years back dragging this out of a basement down on the Cape Cod. That is a 3031 Model A coupe that the owner back in the 70s, he owned it in the 50s, all the way up till the day he passed away. He owned this car, and this was a Model A coupe. I'll show some pictures in the video right now so you guys can see what the car looked like. I have all the past registrations. I've got all types of information on the car. And he cut the roof off because he wanted a roadster. I actually bought this and planned on doing something with it in the past, but nothing ever happened with it. So I decided, I'd try to sell it. I put it up online for sale several times. I had well, I had some interest, but no one came and looked at it. No one made me an offer. No one showed up with money. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna make a race car out of it. So you can see it doesn't have the deck lid on it. Currently sitting on a little bit of a rusty Model A chassis. I just grabbed it off my rack out back. I got a bunch of chassis out there. What this is gonna be a dragster. I'm gonna finish cutting this off here. He left it a little high. I don't particularly care for that look. I'm gonna cut it right at the belt line, just like a roadster would be. And I'll probably, sweep it up or something and give it a little bit of a look like this here. I'll probably just mimic it and go like that there. Doors are gonna be gutted. If anybody needs interior panels for a coupe or a sedan door, you can make them fit on a sedan, but these are obviously coupe doors. All the internals are gonna be gone. I have the deck lid for sale because I'm not gonna be using it. I also have the dashboard for sale because I'm not going to be using that as well, or either. Firewalls coming out of it because the motor is going to be inside the cabin of the car. So again, it's going to be 324 Oldsmobile with a 3-speed and a 9-inch. And I'm building this for the races that we put on up in Oxford, Maine and Romulus, New York. Just got back from Trog early yesterday morning. All fired up. The event was badass this year. The weather was awesome. The cars were amazing. Tons of people there this year. Something like 15,000 spectators, which is incredible. I'm super happy for Mel and everybody involved, everybody that put it on, the racers, the car guys, the bike guys, just everybody. It's a pretty badass event this year. I sold a bunch of stuff down at the swap meet at Trog, drummed up a bunch of money, and ordered a bunch of stuff. So I ordered a set of flanges to build zoomies or headers or whatever. And then I also ordered my boxing plates for the frame. Like I said, that frame's gonna go. Got another one on the shelf that's a lot nicer. I'm gonna end up using the nicer one just because it will be stronger. And I'm gonna get to work on building a dragster. So what I need to do is in the next week or so, I'm gonna try to make my way to the metal yard and go get a bunch of tubing. So what I was just doing a little bit ago, just a few minutes ago, was machining down the collar or the snout, the bearing retainer on the front of this transmission on this three speed. I'll show you. So now that this surface is machined to fit this, that can go on there like that. Now my next thing is to get hardware to bolt this in, and then I'll be able to attach. I gotta get that engine off the stand, remove the flex plate off the back of the engine, and put the flywheel on it. Not that I need the flywheel to get everything set up. Actually, I'll probably not put the flywheel on it. But what I want to do is I want to get the motor and transmission and the rear axle all together so I can get measurements. I want to know where my center line of my axle is going to land, somewhere on the back of the car, obviously. I have slicks on 15-inch wheels, so I got to get those mounted. I'll do that myself, just with a pair of tire irons. So once I get the motor, bell housing, transmission, and rear axle all put together, I can kind of get an idea. I can bring a frame in here, and I can get everything laid out and figure out where things are going to go on the frame. And then I'll be able to get the body set on it, kind of, again, just getting an idea of where everything's going to be laid out, so I know just kind of what things are going to look like. Obviously, there's a certain look I'm going for, an early look. I'll show you guys the car that I'm building. It was an early New England car. I don't know the history on it. I'm going to put up a photo tonight. There's a lot of guys on Instagram and Facebook that are very knowledgeable and have a lot of history on the early days here in New England, Sanford drags, Orange, Mass, or Sterling, and a bunch of the other local drag strips. Charlestown Dragway, I believe, was one. So I'm going to put up some photos and see if I can get any more information on that particular car. It's not going to be an exact replica, again, because they actually had a real roadster that they turned into a race car. I'm obviously going from a coupe to a roadster, so there's going to be a couple small differences, but hopefully it'll be minimal and I'll be able to do the build justice. So this was my first project. My first project was finding the correct U-joint. My second one was machining that collar on that bearing retainer so I could install the bell housing. So the next, or the bell housing adapter. So the next thing is I gotta find the bolts for this bell housing and get that mounted. So this is a older Offenhauser bell housing adapter. 0304 is the number. So if you're looking to go from a Ford top loader to an Oldsmobile, 0304 is the number of the adapter that you need. And obviously that's a Ford style clutch fork. Going on a Ford style transmission. And that's pretty much it right there. So again, I'm just in mock-up phase. I got a long way to go, but I am pretty excited to get to work on starting to build something a little bit different. Obviously, you know, with the evolution of hot rods, as far as hot rodders like myself, you evolve. You build, you know, I built the Model A, built a couple of projects, moved those along. I got my 34.5 window now. I got my 27T. So it kind of like you evolve and you want different things. And I've wanted one of these early dragsters for a while, and I'm finally going to take some time and build myself an early dragster. So next year, we're hoping to have both of the dragsters that we pulled out of that garage earlier this year after Paul's passing. We're going to have both of those hopefully on the track. Pete Flavin blew up the transmission in the Bannister car this past month. Earlier this month, earlier in September, up at the Top Secret Drag Races in Romulus, New York. If you haven't watched that video, go back and watch that video. It's pretty awesome. Hold on. So we're hoping to have that car there in Oxford up in Maine, and then we're planning on having the Excalibur, which is the other dragster, front engine dragster that we pulled out of that on that video. So Brandon Fish, a member of the Tornadoes, he actually came to my house today and picked it up and brought it back down to Rhode Island where he lives, and he's going to work on it in his shop, and he's going to go right through, put a fresh motor in it, and make that thing go down the track next year. So pretty excited. So we're hoping to have 3 dragsters at the track next year. My car will have a body on it, maybe. I'm going to make it so it's removable, so there may be some passes with the body, some without. Time will tell. We'll see what happens. So, but this is the first edition of working on my front engine dragster. So what I'm building is a altered cut down 30-31 cut down coupe. So it'll be, I'll have a single hoop with a couple of braces on the front, a couple on the rear, a single, so it's like a 3-bar hoop or something like that they call it. So I will be behind the rear axle, my butt will be behind the rear axle, my legs will be over the rear axle, and I will be basically sitting out the back of the hole where the trunk lid would have been. So I'm building myself a digger. So I'm pretty excited about that. And again, I'm gonna be kind of going off of a platform, off of a car that was already built back in the day. And I'm hoping I can find not only some more information, but some more photos of that car. Be pretty cool. So like I said, this is something I've always wanted. So it'll be Oldsmobile powered, 324. It will hopefully have the magneto, whatever cam. I'm gonna reach out to a few people and see if I can get some recommendations on a cam. He'll have the 497s. I don't know that I'm gonna put a cooling system in it. I may. It will have a starter because I don't want to be bump starting it every time I want to run it. So it will have a starter. I'm going to try to figure out some type of a charging system. Maybe run a pulley or something off of the rear axle if I can. If I can do like a mount on the rear axle, something with like a mini alternator, or put a mini generator or something on the front of the motor. So we'll see what happens. But I want to be able to start it. I want it to have a cooling system. I know Mel down at the Race of Gentlemen asked all the guys in the dragsters to pull their cooling system off their car this year, which kind of limits you. And if you know, that's what happens if I'm able to bring the car to the Race of Gentlemen next year, which is the plan. I'll just have to remove the cooling system if that's what Mel, you know, requires for the guys in the rail class. So that's it. So everything you saw outside, as far as the body, the grill shell, the whole 9 yards, all that stuff's going to be modified and lightened up. I got the boxing plates that have the lightning holes in them. So on the frame rail, it's going to be all like the circles. I may end up lightening up the front of the frame a little bit more. I'm actually planning on flipping the frame over, cutting the frame horns off, and I'll show you guys that as I go. But pretty soon I'm going to have the 34 moved, probably where I'm standing right now, and I'm gonna get the frame table in, get that frame table leveled off so I can get that frame on the table, and get some boxing plates mounted onto the frame, get it all welded up, and then just start mocking up my driveline. This thing ought to go together pretty quick. I'm gonna use a stock Model A front axle. I'm gonna machine down some hubs, so I'll have some real small hubs for the front, handbrake for the rear brake, direct clutch pedal, so there won't be any linkage on the clutch. Super simple, super basic. So I'm really excited, looking forward to it. So we'll see you guys soon. Quick little video. See ya. Stay tuned.